Heavenly Father, we do thank you for your many blessings, the opportunity to live in such a great country, great state, and a beautiful and great community. We ask your blessings on the proceedings tonight, dear Lord. Give us insight and awareness and discernment to make good decisions for our city. Lead and guide in all ways. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I call the January 13th, 2025 meeting of Newcastle Public Works Authority to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Jean Reed.
Here.
Kimberly Sutton. Here. Marcy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizen comments. I might remind any potential speakers that all speakers shall clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Board members will not respond to comments or questions. The chair may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the board. This time, is there any citizen comments related to the City of Newcastle Public Works that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Is there any member of the board that requests any item be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually? All right, item number 4, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Be no action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on adjustment of utility accounts. Number 6A, account number 12-3321-02, a service address of 1321 Brooks Drive, Cheryl Bulmer. Ms. Bulmer or a representative here this evening? If he's not here, I'll make a motion to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Motion second for continuance.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6B, account number 11-0020-01, at service address of 200 South 4th Street, Nancy Dozier. Is Ms. Dozier or a representative here this evening? Seeing none, we'll make a motion to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Motion second for continuance.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7, discussion of possible action authorization to approve amount of consideration and grant a pipeline right-of-way easement having width of 50 feet during pipeline construction and 30 feet thereafter, together with approval of each of the 75-foot by 25-foot valve site pad located in part of the south northeast border section 22, Township 9 North, Range 4 West Indian Meridian, to Eckert Operating LLC.
City attorney negotiated with Representative for Eckerd on this pipeline easement and the pad site. He was able to basically get the pad site at a cost to Eckerd of $42.50 and $475 per rod. Excuse me, $475 per rod for the easement, likely not to exceed 2 rods. And the pad site will be located on the very south edge of the city property over there, and it's not real sure how far west of 62 it is, but it's considerable distance back from the easement right away.
Best outcome of what was originally proposed. It's a much better outcome for the city.
Yeah.
So we're pleased.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we, see, just to approve that agreement? I mean, well, what do we have to vote on now?
Approving the amount and the grant of the easement. Those 2 things.
Well, any discussion?
Didn't we, the last go around, didn't we discuss, and I believe at the time it was 4 Point and not Eckerd, right? Didn't we discuss some sort of barrier around this pad site where there was natural vegetation, trees, or something of that nature to actually block the view?
We did, and that was in a little bit different location.
Right.
And I think we were a little bit worried about the location 4 Point was picking.
Right.
It was going to be a little bit of an eyesore. This one's moved quite a bit, but I'm sure they will be open to some type of barrier.
I mean, even if nothing else, there was a barrier on the north side of the site that actually blocks the view from City Hall and the fire station. When the new City Hall goes in at some point in the future. And potentially something on the east side of that pad side as well to block the view from Highway 62.
Yeah, I like that idea. Of course, same challenge as other barriers. Be sure that what we get is pleasant. So yeah, do we need to include that in our motion or?
I would certainly include the barrier. Yes. I mean, if nothing else, honestly, I think a 6 foot or 8 foot privacy fence around that pad site, if they're willing to do it, I think it would be just fine and it would cover it. But because these gas gathering systems, they don't stick way up in the air or anything, so.
Would it be ours to maintain there after that?
Well, that system will be there from now on.
That wall, would that be ours to maintain or would they be asked to
No, I
maintain?
think it would be them. I think it would be them. Yeah.
Any public comments concerning this agenda item?
I'm a representative from Eckerd.
Okay.
Maybe I could speak a little bit about. I'm Jeff Clark. I'm the agent for Eckerd. We have not finalized as far as construction. We haven't contracted a construction company just yet. But we are cognizant, very well aware of the city's plans, future plans to make that into City Hall. We strategically placed the valve site or proposed the valve site as close to the border, the property border as we possibly could. And there's some flexibility there, and we can work with the city on the exact placement of the valve site, but where it sits on the map is it's obscured by existing trees. There's going to have to be a few trees that will be taken out because of the 25 by 25, and then maybe a little workspace around. I would caution against the fence, like a wooden fence. Sometimes those can be a worse site or aesthetic, could be a worse aesthetic to the property than, say, even a chain link with the black slats, or even to plant trees. It looks like the city has on their plan to include a bunch of trees on the south side of that property as well. At least the rendering, the 2022 rendering I saw. So I think that I can't speak on behalf of our construction personnel, but certainly can work with the city however we need to, and we are cognizant of the aesthetics of it. Now, one other thing that we'll need to keep in mind is we will periodically we'll need to have access to that valve site just for testing, monitoring, those kinds of things. Once every month or once every couple of months, we'll have to have somebody just be able to access it. But obviously that'll just be about foot traffic coming in. But yeah, we would be open to some ideas on fencing, barriers. A 6 or 8, it's going to be about a waist high. The valve site's only about waist high. So to conceal that with a 6 or 8 foot gate or fence, sometimes, especially in the Oklahoma winds, those things can fall over. It would be on the south side of what's designated as a retention pond. And so, putting a fence up around the retention pond or a wooden fence, I'm not so sure that would be the best. That's just my opinion, but we've tried that in places, or we've been required to do that in places, and it becomes a nightmare for the landowner and for the oil company too, to keep that.
Well, what we had discussed previously, was like evergreens or something run down through. I mean, that's fine, as long as there's something that blocks the.
Kevin, this isn't a big thing with me, whatever you feel like I'm good with, but, I've been kind of careful about jumping into fences, stuff like that for the
Sure.
very reason, so even a nice shrub, you know, going around that would just, would blend in a little bit more than, something that might have to be maintained or blown over or something like that,
Right.
so. Anything you negotiate with that's okay with me, that's my only thought.
Yeah, I'll work with you guys, best we can, sure, absolutely, thank you.
Just out of curiosity, do y'all have to have it secure anyway?
It does, yeah, it'll need to be secure, we'll have a gate access to get in there, so we would probably put up a metal chain link. We could do the black slats, kind of like what we do for some well site locations that you've seen around. The little black plastic that weaves through the chain link. In this situation, I don't know that aesthetically would be the best, so we would probably do something similar to it, like a chain link. But I think I would recommend the evergreen idea, some sort of shrub, that kind of thing, that the natural aesthetics of what you guys have planned. I think that would probably be best for everybody. Yeah. There may be, you know, in rural areas, you see them with bollard poles, you know, so tractors and farm equipment don't run into them.
Right.
In this situation, we don't have to worry about traffic per se. Probably just need to keep whatever stray animals or, you know, those kinds of things out of there with the chain link type of things.
Really good guys. Animals.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve item 7 for the stated, amount, of $42.50.
And $475 around.
And what?
$475 around.
$475 for rod.
Yep.
Don't ask me what the rod is, because
15.5 feet.
I could never remember. Okay, very good.
All right, got a motion, got a second?
Second.
Motion and second for approval of item number 7.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on adoption of joint resolution number 2025-01 regarding limits to hydrant meter fees and policies.
Our hydrant meter fee was established at $500 several years back, when a contractor or builder, whatever, would come in to request one of those hydrant meters so they could get water out of the hydrants. Those hydrant meters have since went up to about $1,800 to replace. And we still have an issue from time to time that our hydrant meters walk off for whatever reason and are never returned. So it's costing the city now $1,800 to replace a hydrant meter every time something like that happens. Staff's requesting to increase that deposit to $2,000. Now, if they bring the meter back, then of course whatever water they use can actually be pulled out of that $2,000, and then the remaining balance, if there is one, refunded to them, to the contractor or builder. So, 2,000, I mean, that's kind of on the border, but I don't want to just, raise it really high. I mean, that's, I think that's.
Would it be too difficult? Would it be too difficult? I'm okay with 2,000. Would it be difficult to set it at the cost of the meter, like the deposit? So if the costs go up or down, the cost of deposit is currently $1,800.
Yeah, in that resolution, I don't recall how you wrote that, Camille, but the way that the resolution is written and how it's been written in the past, it would have to come back to council each time it needed to be raised.
I'm not bitting up with that either. If it's 2,000, but if it goes up and down, you wouldn't have to come back to us.
True.
So I don't know how easy that'd be to manage, but your choice on that one.
That'd be fairly simple. I mean, just write it into the resolution that way.
But I can't remember how to write it. Is the deposit part, it would be the cost of the meter plus the deposit, or would be the deposit
Is the cost of the meter.
the deposit is the cost of the meter?
Yes.
Sorry, I read it earlier today. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Any other comments on this?
Now this would cover if it's damaged or anything in that deposit.
That's in the resolution.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's good. Cause is it something that screws on so they could actually screw it off?
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Maybe there's not one in another city that needs it.
Maybe so. Maybe everyone has to pay it for the water they use. We don't know how much they use, they're gonna pay us.
We ran into that before.
I will make a motion for approval of the proposed resolution, with the change of in number 1, where it says currently every customer desiring a temporary water meter hydrant or hydrant meter shall first pay the deposit of $2 to the city of Newcastle. Change that to shall first pay a deposit of the current price of this meter to the city of Newcastle.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the resolution number 2025-01. Dr. Nick?
Bud Fuller.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl.
Yes. Item number 9, monthly treasurer's report.
All right, at the end of December, that puts us at 50% of the fiscal year completed. Revenues for general fund are sitting at 50.6%. Expenses for general fund are at 48.2%. So both of those are within our expected budget amount. Operating departments individually are all operating where we expected them to be as well. The revenues for our capital improvement tax fund are 49.8%. Expenses are only sitting at 19.5%. Of course, that's project driven. So, I'm assuming that's going to get a little higher towards the end of this year. The revenues are within the expected budget expectations. Of course, expenses are lower. Revenues for NPWA finished at 46.1%. Expenses for NPWA finished at 44.3%. I'm going to break away from what I sent you just to mention this. Kevin and I have discussed this in the past. I think I've mentioned it to you all in the past. Because of the 2 very large projects we have with OWRB, I had spoken with Crawford. I wanted to account for the draw deposits and the draw payments differently, but they told me I couldn't do that. So that's why they are included in our budget, which kind of puts our actual operating expenses and revenues off kilter. So I pulled out those construction projects, the 2 OWRBs, and we also are still waiting on ODOT to reimburse us. So the actual operations of the NPWA revenues are sitting at 57.3%, while expenses are only at 48.6%. So that gives you a truer picture of where Fund 02 is actually sitting, minus the construction project.
That scared me just a little bit when she said
That's much better.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, moving on, I guess. The fire department tax fund has brought in $680,000. We have spent almost $1.1 million. So that tax fund at this point is covering 63.4% of what we've spent operating our fire department. We are still seeing the same place on the meters. I guess Kevin and I talked about that this morning. That hasn't changed since October, I think.
Roughly over it. I can elaborate on that in my comments.
Thank you. And for the wastewater plant, we now paid 15 draws, and the current project total for that is almost $30,000.
30,000.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, 30 million. I wish it was 30,000.
I wish it was.
That'd be wonderful.
A chunk of change.
Yeah.
Of cost it.
Sales and use tax came in at a little over $1 million in December. 851,000 of that was sales. 150,000 of that was use. That puts us 1% below, or 0.1% below where we budgeted to be. And incidentally, December 2024 was 3.2% lower than 2023. The total receipts at this point last year were also higher. So, but I can say that January picked up a little bit, so still a little bit of relief. Mm-hmm. Our current indebtedness is now sitting at $45,810,127. So that's a quick rundown of our balances. City fund, or general fund, is $2.1 million. Capital improvement tax fund is $2.6 million. Economic development tax fund is almost $38,000. Cemetery care fund is $45,000. Parks capital improvement fund is $179,000. Admin and Technology Fund is $223,000. Grant Cost Share Fund is $2.6 million. Transportation Impact Fee Fund is $81,000. City Hall Fund is now sitting at $48,000, almost $49,000. And our opioid fund, abatement fund, sorry, is sitting at $80,000. NPWA fund balances, Public Works Authority is $2.2 million, almost $2.3 million actually. Water impact fee is $928,000. Wastewater impact fee is $936,000. Wastewater plant fund is sitting at almost $7.7 million, and our meter fund is $340,000. Are there any questions for me?
This is a great job explaining.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, item number 10, general manager's comment.
On the meter replacement, that she was talking about there, we have a handful of meters that are not, they continue not to read properly. Metron Fortier was supposed to come back out, and they either think it's the cellular that's not operating properly, or there was one other thing. I was actually on a meeting with them and with the water department before I had went on vacation leave for December, and they were supposed to come out and get all that fixed. They haven't been back out yet. So, and without them doing that, we are still not able to say, yes, we have substantial completion of the project, according to the engineers, for the loan to convert into, instead of just interest, to convert into a normal loan. So that's been turned over as of, I believe it was it was Friday. Friday, it's been turned over back to Wall Engineering, and they're supposed to get in contact with Metron Fortier and say, what's the deal? Get this done, get it wrapped up, because this project's went on long enough. And all the meters are in the ground. It's just this handful that's not operating properly.
Of new ones?
New ones.
Okay, that's
right.
But they're at customer location, resident location?
They are at resident location. Now, they thought, well, it's they thought it was the cellular data or whatever that's not working correctly. But then they also said, well, maybe the cellular is working fine. It's just not getting signal in the areas that these are located, which is very possible.
Could be.
So, but we won't know that until they get out there and check it and get it fixed.
So the erroneous readings, are they totally out of whack, or are they just enough to cause confusion?
Cause confusion, and they're not reading properly. So our meter readers have been going out there and reading manually.
But they're obvious. It's not like charging the customer a few thousand.
No.
Obvious. It's an obvious
caught.
failure.
Right.
Okay.
Right. One other thing that I wanted to mention to council, the city did receive an NOV from DEQ on our sewer plant for excessive chlorination. This took place in July, August, and September. It's been turned over to our engineers. The engineer said, okay, we're fine. And it wasn't exactly, it wasn't like it was, 10 points above where we were supposed to be. It was normal is 0.1, and we were at 0.6, 0.8. And then one of them did hit 2.2 for whatever reason. But at this time, we received the NOV at the 1st of December, last November, 1st of December. Well, our plant is not being chlorinated right now because it's wintertime, and it won't be until about May or June, at which time our new plant will be operational. So there should be no other problems with this excessive chlorination. So that's all I have.
So, how often this happens?
Yeah, well, so the wastewater operators that we have, they take a daily reading on the chlorination. There's many things that they have to take a daily reading on. But the chlorination, they read it daily, they write it down, and then they have to send in a report to DEQ at the end of the month, once a month. So on the excessive chlorination, it happened one time each month for those 3 months. 1 out of 30 days we over-chlorinated, and
So 3 times out of 90 days.
3 times out of 90 days. Right.
Anyway,
No, that's worth noting.
just make sure that was,
Yeah.
it's not like our guys are just
Right.
over-chlorinating all month long.
Right.
That was a one This is a very isolated event.
Right. That's good to know.
All right, thank you, sir. Item number 11, any trustee comments? Okay. Item number 12 is adjournment.
Make a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Motion second for adjournment, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Okay, too much. This time I'll call the January 13th, 2025 meeting of Newcastle City Council to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl,
Yes, here.
Mike Fullerton,
Here,
Jean Reed,
I missed one meeting and I.
got left out. We need to tell you something real quick. Wait, we gotta get sworn in.
I'm
first.
here.
I'm putting you in a minute. Kimberly Sutton. Here. Marcy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Motion second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3 is citizen comments. Opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Is there any member of council that requires any item on the consent agenda to be removed and addressed individually? Seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda, being no action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on the recommendation of planning commission regarding approval of final plat of Castle Fork.
Good evening, council members. Janae Greenlee with the Newcastle Planning Department. As you stated, this is item 6, the final plat of Castle Court Development. The owner is RNY LLC, Sam Patel, and as a developer, and SRB is the engineering firm working on this. This is located at the southeast corner of Northeast 19th Place and North Main Street. It's approximately 4.49 acres. This is, the 4.49 acres is going to be divided into 4 lots, ranging from 34,000 square feet to 61,000 square feet. Current zoning is CC2, Community Commercial District. No rezoning was required on this. It was already zoned CC2. The detention, the stormwater runoff will be detained in a regional development detention area in the southwest corner of the development in a common area. It'll be maintained by a property owners association and enforced through their covenant. There is an existing 10-inch sanitary sewer line on Main Street that they will utilize for each one of the connections for these lots. And there is an existing 8-inch water line on North Main Street as well. Access into this development will take place on 2 driveways that will connect to 62. ODOT permits are required for that. One has been approved already for the entrance on the north end of the property. The south entrance on this is pending approval from ODOT for a 36 foot driveway connection to 62. Let me just get to the next screen. I've got an aerial in the site development plan, which the site development plan is in your packet. So you can see I've just on the right side of the screen up here is just the aerial, so you can see where the development is taking place. And then on the left side, the site development plan. They will have 2 access drives on the north of the property. All access drives and parking are shared access and shared parking throughout this development. That will also be enforced and is on the plat and through their covenants as well. There's two variances for the driveway separation that's required. Basically, it is So, let me back up. Variances are for the water line. 12-inch water line is required on all section line roads. There's the existing 8-inch there, so they are going to utilize that. That's one variance. And then the driveway separation on Northeast 19th Street from the intersection of Main to the west driveway, approximately a 75-foot variance, and to the 150-foot requirement from the intersection of Main Street to the local street, Northeast 19th Place. And then also the driveway separation between their two driveways, which is a 200-foot driveway requirement. They have approximately 85 feet between their driveways, so it's a 115-foot variance to the 200 driveway separation. And then approximately 160-foot variance between their east driveway and the estates of Newcastle west driveway. So those are the variances that are required in this plat. They were brought forth in the preliminary plat as well, and this is the final plat, the final variance stage. Also, let me go back to, so as you can see, and like I said, stated is in your packet, the moving to Main Street, the driveway access, the north driveway entrance on Main Street is a 26-foot connection, 26-foot driveway ingress that there will be two drive onto Main Street. And then on the south one, they will have not two drives, two lanes. Sorry. And then on the south one, 3 lanes. A right out, right in, and a middle turn lane.
To Main Street?
Onto Main Street. This driveway on the south side of the development will be a 36-foot driveway access.
And
Wide, 36 feet
my
wide.
point where she's at on that south side.
Right here.
Well, I don't see your cursor. Your cursor.
I'm sorry. It is small. It's right there.
Right there.
The south driveway, 36 feet wide, 3 lanes.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you. That is currently under ODOT review. Okay. The north driveway has already been approved by ODOT.
That's fine.
The south has been approved.
No,
the north. No,
no,
it's
not
the south one that is.
None of them have been approved.
You have the approval. Oh, because that changed.
Yes.
Yes. So there were several times that the applicant had changed their request on the width and the radii of the driveways. So they both have been resubmitted to ODOT. They're both pending approval. My apologies on that one. Okay. So, with the variances, the water line, the driveway separation, planning staff does make recommendation of approval of this final plat for Castle Court. I'm happy to answer any questions. The applicant and their engineer is here as well.
I think it looks good. Figures for that property there, looks like it's just a full shell type generators there. And that's what we'd like to see, so.
Just out of, I know you said something about it, but on the plat that we're showing right now, shows that south one as being 26 feet wide.
On the site development plan, the master development plan, yeah, because the drives aren't shown on the final plat, but yes. The south one, 36 feet.
Gold. Yeah, the master development plan.
Correct. And the north one, 26.
Okay, on the master plan though, it shows it being 26 on the south.
Yes.
But it would be 36?
Correct.
Is what they're shooting for?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With 3 lanes. North one, 26 with 2 lanes. I will say that planning commission did make recommendation for that north one to be 3 lanes. It was submitted as a preliminary plat, with the 2 lanes, the north one, and, after looking at it and review of it, I mean, staff does recommend the way that it's presented. I do understand their concern with the traffic, but they are doing the three lanes on the south,
Well, is the 2 lanes in and out or just in?
in and out.
Mm.
Mhm. Same with the north on Northeast 19th Place, it'll be the same, just 2 lanes on one driveway. The furthest east driveway access on their development, will service the rear of these parcels and most likely be utilized for service deliveries. I mean, there will be the ability for the circulation. And there's also will be a hammerhead at the end of that for emergency vehicle access and turnaround for delivery trucks and things of that nature. I apologize for the confusion on the drive.
What is the length of that hammerhead at the end?
The length, it's a,
Off your head. Let me,
you have the,
hold on.
the latest development plan. Doesn't show it there.
It doesn't show it. That's the news on that.
I think it's 60 feet. We have resubmitted a newer plan showing the hammerhead as required by staff.
From here, you can see here. So, I mean, that's to that last lot. That's 158 feet right there.
But at the
And
end,
you're talking
at
about the
south,
end of
South
the
end, yeah.
south end.
Turn around.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I'm Dan Androlanis with Smith Robert Schweiler. The latest plan that we submitted, that we don't have here, at the south end of that, there's a T looking thing, with 60 feet and 28-foot radii, I believe it is, so that somebody coming in south can turn around and go out without having to back up that 158 feet.
So 60 feet wide.
Well, it's long, it's 24 feet wide.
24 feet wide. Okay.
It's a T, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, the other option was to put a cul-de-sac or something. Is that where the trash truck? Yeah, we anticipate, will they come back there and do the same
Yes,
thing?
sir. Yes, sir. We have the plan for the trash dumpsters for each lot to be on that. And we didn't want to repeat what's going on the north side with delivery trucks having to stop on 19th Street to unload. So that's why we have this East Drive. There's dumpsters there. East Drive with the fairly large radii to allow service vehicles, deliveries, and hopefully unlikely event of a fire access and trash access to be able to get in there without having to line up on 19th Street. And I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Planning Commission also wanted you guys to put no parking signs up on 19th Street.
Okay.
Try to get those guys off of.
They're actually already there, but
They
nobody
are.
pays attention to it.
Well, okay, well then don't yell at them, I guess.
We need a no parking police car.
So anyway, we want to make sure we don't contribute to that by having ours, unless they're blocking it. Make sure we can get off 19th to take care of deliveries and trash and emergency access.
You send me that updated tax and showing the, showing the, yeah. Okay, all right, we'll get it. Okay.
Any other questions or concerns? Not only do you have a motion.
If I'm, the planning commission's concern on the outlets to the Main Street was that we wanted a turn lane on both of them. And this is gonna be divided into separate lots. And that entrance coming off Main Street at just 26 foot with just 2 lanes, you're apt to get people trying to turn in there while that's our 50 mile an hour, and it may go down to 45 before too long, but that's a pretty fast turn to get into that if you've got exit traffic right there. And that was our concern with that. I would still suggest it'd be better if it's 3 lanes.
Okay, sir. Any comment? No other comment. That's the entertainment motion.
Make a motion to approve with the changes that are coming, I guess, the 36 foot line. Just approved by ODOT. One day.
Including the ODOT approval.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6 as amended.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jim Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7, discussion and possible action on adoption of joint resolution number 2025-01 regarding amendments to hydrant meter fees and policies.
It's the same item as NPWA.
Motion to approve item 7.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jim Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on adoption of resolution number 2025-02 regarding West Momax with return of workers' compensation in excess escrow funds in the amount of $48,494.83, or to apply to the unused escrow amount of policy premium. In the past, we've always applied this premium.
No, she's actually been receiving
Oh,
checks.
she's been receiving checks?
Well, most of the time we've been getting, since I've been here, we've been getting checks. Not
Okay.
for checks.
At one point in time.
Just because it doesn't change my budget.
Okay. Then we'll do that. Make a motion for item number 8 to, request the check.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jim Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 9, discussion and possible action on reorganization of Newcastle Community Foundation, Inc.
The Community Foundation used to be comprised of the council members that were on the council at that time, which is, I think it was Carl Jean, and it was, Tiffany, Cindy, and Mike. So our recommendation is at least in the interim to go ahead and reestablish that as the council members for the Community Foundation, until such time we can, go out basically and canvas for members, maybe to run the community foundation. Council will have the opportunity to interview those people and then appoint to that community foundation. The other piece of that is we're gonna have a treasurer, at least in the short term, to oversee funds or any donations or whatever that may come in. There hasn't been any donations come in a while, but people have asked. And there is still right now about $7,000 or so that is sitting in that account. We do still have a bank account for the community foundation. All of the paperwork was kept up as far as a 501c3. Cindy Frizzell kept that up for us and was sending in the required paperwork to maintain that. But she is not doing that no more as of now and doesn't want to touch that. Yeah. So we need to do something to keep that foundation running. I mean, if there's people that's wanting to donate to the city or to a specific project or whatever that may be, right now we have no way of accounting for that or receiving donations or anything else legally. So.
We added a person or two to that a while back. I thought we had one in.
I made it one time.
There's some residents. We have some residents. This is not economic development. This is community development. Community foundation is the other one that someone was appointed to. But okay, yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of this budget on, or not
Right.
having activity on.
Could we,
This is 19 for sure.
if it is us as members, or even if we add members to that, could we just schedule it in conjunction with our council meetings, like every 4 months or every 6 months?
Could do it before or after. Now, I would probably recommend that going before, maybe because that meeting should last no more than 20 minutes.
Just something to keep it alive and keep it on our mind and roll call
Convenient.
and the finance. I mean, I'd like someone else to make a recommendation that we add something to our night, but I would support it.
Well, I mean, if it's just us at first, we can do it till at 6, but then if we move to other people, we want to do it before, right?
Well, I mean, they could still, if it goes to other people, they could do it on another night.
Right.
I mean, for that matter. But we've been trying to keep all of the meetings at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of like to just start off with that and no action required, update, move to the next one.
Yeah.
I would like to recommend, and she's going to love me for this, Jeanette
I knew that.
taking care of the treasury side of that until we get somebody appointed to do it.
That's called being voluntold.
Because she has
It's
experience.
$7,000 at this point.
I told you lately how good you are with money.
No, I didn't say that.
You gotta say at least till she gets it on her name on it in print.
Yeah.
That sounded.
All right, no, we're
You
gonna
get it
move on this
voluntold.
and hopefully we won't, we won't have to have council members on or anybody else,
Yeah.
no more than a couple of months.
As we get bigger, people want to be, that's the kind of thing that people want to be on.
So you don't think long-term council members even need to be on it, or?
I think council members could, I suppose, if they wanted
But
to.
there's not a need, not an inherent need for that.
No,
Oh, okay. Well,
No.
that would change, that would probably change whether or not we needed to add it to our monthly meetings.
Yeah.
Or council meetings. I was thinking in a different direction. I was thinking if we're gonna be responsible for it,
right.
let's get it up in front, let's get it done.
And real honestly, I think it has nothing to do with city funds. It has nothing to do with any, it's totally separate. So council members would probably be better off if they weren't a part of it.
Long term, yeah.
Long term.
It's just easier for me to ask them. We don't know how to say no right now.
So you're asking for the interim, just for the 5 of us, our names will be added to it, along with Jeanette.
Yeah.
And then we can determine the meeting sequence and everything after that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve that reorganization statement, to name the 5 current, council members, with plans to transfer or with plans to engage other citizens as members.
Mhm.
With Jeanette McNally as our treasurer.
Second?
Motion second for approval of item number 9.
Any citizen comments?
Not allowed.
She is.
Yeah, but she's tying her mouth shut.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 10, discussion of possible action authorizing application for Oklahoma Homeland Security Cybersecurity Grant.
I like this.
This grant was applied for and received by the town of Goldby. They received a little over $500,000, and it's a 100% grant. There's no matching cost to it. They were able to buy, I believe they were able to buy some equipment down there, and they did some other things, what we're wanting to do. There may be, and Scott can actually speak to this a lot better than I can, because he actually met with, what is the name of the company you met with? Novo. They will actually be working the grant for us, actually writing it and everything else, and then providing some things. Scott, won't you talk about this for just a little bit, because this gets over my
Please
head.
approach the podium and give us your name.
We're solving an IT problem right there.
I'm just.
This is a grant that we actually applied for last year, but they had a different coordinator in charge of it. This new coordinator has worked with Goldsby pretty closely and put them in touch with this other company. It looks like this other company, Novo, is just one of many companies that do sort of IT consulting and getting people more in line with best practices for security, and then helping you to write things the way the government wants them written. If we get a grant of this type, it would take our IT practices. There's a lot of things that would be nice to do that just cost a lot of money, and so this would take us from where we're at, which is pretty good, but it would give us a lot higher security level than what we currently have. It would take us, from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds or something. It's just a lot better technology footing, and as we grow, as we have more and more data, this is kind of something that's a pretty important priority for the city, because not that long ago we were under 10, maybe under 5, not too long before that, 5,000 people, and we're expecting to have all that growth, and with that comes a lot more responsibility. I think this is really something that's going to be beneficial. Whether we get it or not, we're going to head in that direction. But this company puts a lot of effort. They're very much experts in this kind of thing. They get a little bit from this. They are essentially asking us to be to use them for their services. But they're a partner with Microsoft. So when we do this, we would kind of have a dedicated partner that would coordinate between us and Microsoft. We use Microsoft for practically, half the stuff we use right now. So, do you have any questions? I'll be quiet for a second.
And it's also a 5-year.
Yeah, it's a 5-year
program.
So because it's hardware and software in service, no, that you're going to get with the grant?
You can get some hardware. It's very particular what you get. It's mostly to do with things like networking, switches, routers. You can get a single laptop computer or desktop computer, and some of our servers would go away if we did this. So right now we have some physical servers. Those would become in the cloud servers, so there wouldn't be a server on site anymore. But it's primarily about software. In terms of what this company is focused on, this same grant, our water department, public works, could apply independently, but it can cover things like improvements in SCADA, so some of the stuff where our technology touches the internet or touches other networks. It can cover sort of like training. So if somebody could regularly send out fake emails to people to try to entice them to buy a puppy or something, and no, that's a bad guy. It's not a real puppy. So things like that. It could be training. It could be all kinds of things. It's pretty broad, but it doesn't primarily cover a lot of computers.
is when it's, do we need to start thinking about, we're gonna wanna keep a lot of this when it's over, so budgeting for when it's done is what, because, I mean, this is also gonna be things that help us from not getting ransomware, right? So city has to
Right.
pay us.
Mhm.
And so, do we need to step up, we'll get used to it, learn how to use it, but then we need the budget to keep going when it's over.
Right, and we
That's
discussed
my
that
question.
too.
Yeah.
We discussed that, and I, right now, we don't have numbers of what that would actually cost after a 5-year period.
Yeah, because it's definitely needed. I've wondered before about, I mean, big cities are getting ransomware. I don't know why we wouldn't, like New Orleans did one time several years ago. And I mean, you pay the ransom most of the time if you don't. I mean, that's cyber insurance too. I don't even know if we have that, but it's bad out there. And so I was just curious if
Some
A,
of
we
the
need it, so great, it'll pay for 5 years, but B, we need to start looking at what it's gonna cost after 5 years. And,
some of the things that would be included are things that we actually already pay for elsewhere.
Mhm.
So it would cut those costs, and then so in some ways it may not actually cost much more to keep this up down the road. Because other things are being supplanted by it. And it's kind of bringing it all under one umbrella. And the improvements are going to last.
Right.
So the security improvements that they put in place, regardless.
This grant is being offered by the state of Oklahoma.
I believe it's through Homeland Security. Is that
It's
right?
Department of Homeland Security, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the word Oklahoma in there. So the National Department of Homeland Security.
Oklahoma.
Well, yes, and yes to both of you.
Does it
Yeah.
trickle down?
Yeah.
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 So
So someone's sitting on all this money and it's up for, so why are they pushing it out? What's their incentive to offer these?
I would assume that now they did come out as the Homeland Security guys came out about 2 years ago, met with myself and Donnie Solons at the shelter and just talked about general security. But I would assume that the feds and then our state have an interest in cities not having problems with security because I'm sure it's a patchwork.
Exactly. So they did initiate this and came out and talked to you as what problem?
A couple of years ago, they came out and said, we'd like to assess all of our cities in the state, where they're at.
And did they tell you that there's some grants available?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And when we first applied for it, it was a little bit harder to figure out what the state was actually looking for. With this new person that's running that, it's apparently streamlined quite a bit because of their presence.
I'm not looking at gift horse in the mouth, but there's part of me that says they've got all this money, they know the cities need to do it, and yet it's difficult to get approval.
Oh, that's why I have
I think the first time around, when I applied, maybe it was about a year and a half ago or something, it was difficult to understand what the state wanted from us.
Yeah.
They kind of gave some sort of vague.
But that's still part of my, like, yeah.
But Goldsby has worked with the new coordinator there and said it's just toast. It's easy now.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of taking advantage of the opportunity. It's just amazing that all that money is our money that we put into these. All this grant comes, and unless we find it, we don't get to enjoy it, of course. So, all right.
I guess the good thing and the bad thing is on the cloud portion of it.
Yeah, it does mean a significant additional presence in the cloud. But that's kind of where everything's headed too. I mean, a lot of our stuff's already in the cloud.
Yeah. Nobody keeps anything on their own servers anymore. You're too liable to lose it. If it goes down and you are screwed. So there's security risk, but there's mega risk if you're trying to manage it yourself instead of having a powerhouse manage it.
Like we have a dual system. We have a cloud and local server at our office.
Yeah, but is it storing the data or is it just passing the data to it? Because it might not be storing the data. Most people aren't. None of my hospitals, none of my clinics, none of them store anything on site ever. Hospitals don't ever. Like they've all gone to the cloud. That's what I do for a living. It's just a different pot of money. Like everybody's in the cloud. So there is a security risk there, but the bigger risk is losing your data.
Well, we
lose a day.
Do what?
We lose a day.
Our planning department makes extensive use of a server that is in City Hall. And that's one of the things we're actually trying to deal with just a moment ago, is getting the access on Kevin's there. But this would put everything in the cloud. The permissions would be set, so if they needed to share something with the council, they could just drop it in there. A lot more of our people are using laptops now than we were not that long ago. And so it seems like it would add a lot of flexibility, but it would also have a lot of security, dual factor authentication. Unfortunately, it's a little more of a pain, but it means that it would be a lot harder for somebody to break in if they just got a hold of your laptop or something. So pros and cons.
The multi-factor password manager saves your life.
I remember all
Right.
Could you have one?
And that's the other reason why you need a password manager. You can have different ones for everyone, but not have to remember them all.
Oh, you're supposed to have the same one.
Ah,
It's not supposed to be password either.
that sounds good. It's very much like what I do, and that's where it's a good thing.
Sounds like a good step.
Yeah. Different part of mine is same business.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 11. Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11.
Tim,
Okay.
sorry.
That's all right.
Firehouse sub. Sorry. Item 10.
Screwed everything up. Motion second for approval of item number 10.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Ness.
Item number 11, discussion of possible action with respect to the 2025 Firehouse Public Safety Foundation grant.
We've been awarded the 2025 Firehouse Subs grant. The total amount is $23,250. That is for 10 sets of bunker gear. This is a 100% totally funded grant. We've actually, as a city, been awarded this grant 2 other times. In 2019, we received 10 sets of bunker gear for the fire station, and then in 2023, we bought our K9 officer with that same pot of money. So it has been a very good grant and relatively easy to do as well. So.
Brings good fun.
Correct. The saving grace is Station 2 is within a proximity of the one in Norman. So that is the only reason we're able to qualify. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Until we get our own someday.
When we say bunker gear, what's that mean? I don't know what that means.
They're PPE,
Their coat and pants,
coats
stuff they wear in fires.
boots.
Oh, the actual.
personal protective equipment,
Okay.
It's rather costly.
Yeah.
It is.
about 2,500 a set.
They try to make it so it
Let's
doesn't
see.
incinerate.
Get this grant then. I make a motion to approve agenda item 11. That's why I said it earlier. I was
Second.
excited about it.
Motion second for approval of item number 11.
Second.
You gotta pay more attention
You
here,
want
huh?
to do more than Gene.
Already seconded.
Mike Fullerton.
Oh, you already did?
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yeah.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Ness.
We can start talking about free stuff around here. Keep voting for the
Item
same
number
thing.
12, discussion of possible action authorizing the 20% participation and application for the 2025 Dorpo SPR Transportation Mini Grant.
The mouthful.
It is. We will be, with the blessing, be applying for this grant. The application is due in February, and basically we will hire a firm that will be able to come up with a plan to have all of our schools to connect to Highway 62, to connect to the parks, to connect to the library. One thing that we found is when we applied for the TAP grant through ODOT to connect, if you remember, Windermere to the park, to the library, to the school, to Main Street, is because we did not actually have an adopted plan. We lost points on that grant, and most of these planning and transportation grants want some sort of adopted plan. And so what this grant would do would give us the opportunity to get that plan in place. The total of the maximum is $25,000 from Sorpo, and then a match for $6,250 from us. So the maximum would be $31,250.
Who developed the plan?
Correct. And this is our first time applying for this grant.
When you say connected by walkways and.
Correct.
Specifically by walkways?
It's kind of like a safe route. for all the schools and stuff like that, yeah.
Good.
Anything that connects the schools, your public spaces and things like that, are more easily funded through the state than some of the other projects that we love to fund.
So it's a grant that'll help us apply and get a grant next time.
Correct, that is the goal.
Sounds good. I make a motion to approve item 12. Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 12.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 13, city manager's comments.
I really don't have a whole lot since it didn't work the month of December. What must go on? The first week of December before my actual time off, I got sick, so I was off a full week, and then I was off the next 3 weeks on vacation. So, and I don't know what Jeanette got accomplished, but
Everything was.
Sounds like pretty good.
Smooth sailing.
Probably
We never
not.
heard anything. We never got emails or heard anything, so it must have been good.
we are moving now.
All right. Item number 14, council member comments.
I want to see the wastewater treatment thing. Can we take a stroll through it at some point?
Wait till he warms up just a tick.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
this
no, not imminently.
Not next week.
Not next week. Not next week, but I would like to in the next, few weeks or a month or so. Just kind of.
So our next meeting out there will be February 2nd Wednesday, is that what it is?
Yes.
Second Wednesday of each month, we have an update meeting out there on site. Doesn't mean we can't go anytime. I mean, whenever you're ready, holler, and I can let them know.
We'd be invited to attend that meeting maybe, or are you saying, or not?
It's pretty crowded
Okay.
in that meeting. They have it in that little trailer.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't know what you're.
We can come after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what they usually do is give us an update on the progress of the project and the stages that it's in. And then once that's over, they take us on a walk around of the site.
I'll be cool with just waiting outside to leave update and then go walk around. I just want to see it. Just a lot of money.
Yeah.
I want to be able to say I saw what that 50 million is doing.
Very cool. It really is.
And that's what I've heard. I've heard it's really coming along. And I drove by last week just to see, and it's looking like a lot of money.
But I can take anybody out there on any day, whatever, and all I gotta do is call Jamie and he'll take us around.
And we're still charging for what? Is it June?
May.
July, May.
They think we'll have it done by May.
Awesome.
Up and running.
Is there just like somebody turns on a knob and it just starts going, or do you like slowly turn one down and turn one up?
Push a little lever.
Well, I mean,
Pretty
like,
much it.
that's it, and it
Yeah.
goes.
Those level from.
Alright, awesome.
Mayor, can you?
Closing it now?
There's nothing noticeable for consumers, citizens, there's not be anything noticeable for us. It's just online, we have a lot more capacity and we're a newer plant that puts out better stuff, right? Because I mean, there's nothing we've noticed. Water, you might notice some more air in your water, but not with wastewater.
Right.
It's just online.
That's the first time we've been together, I think, since, Governor Anatoly made his announcement again, or clarification.
Yeah.
Anything that you can share updates on
I saw they talked.
the hospital and.
Yeah, no necessarily updates from communication with the nation. They did sign the agreement, which they had planned on signing no later than the end of June, so they're about 5 months behind where they thought they were going to be last spring as far as for getting the agreement signed. We hope sometime next month to get an update on the planning on the timeline, learn hopefully the final size and scope that they agreed to with the Indian Health Service. So that'll give us a lot better idea of exactly the impact it's going to have on the community, how they're going to phase that in, impact from all the utilities. Now that they've got the finalization of that plan, we can really start working with them to get ready for what it's going to do, impacting the community. So we hope in another month and a half to 2 months, we'll know a whole lot more about, especially the timeline, what we've got to get done, what we need to be expecting, and how we're going to work together to achieve a lot of these things that we are hoping to do. Some of those things, it will include water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure. We've also had multiple conversations with the nation concerning roads and the impact that this will have on roadways in the community. We've talked to them about Country Club. We've talked to them about Highway 130. We're going to meet with ODOT to discuss potential of, hopefully getting them to work to upgrade 130. That's our hope. but we do have a meeting with ODOT coming up, and so we're hopeful maybe we can get some movement on getting something done, or get on the list to get something done with 130, because that's gonna be a significant way for people to enter into that facility coming from 76, come over. And so, we really need something to happen there to make that a safer road. So there's a lot of things that, in addition to that, we've been working with the nation over time, and so it's probably going to really ramp up. And so as a part of that, we'll probably start seeing things, a lot more things in council that we'll have to agree to in partnerships that we're going to be working together with them for. So we're excited about moving forward with it. You know, it's been out there for a good long while since the initial announcement 6-7 years ago of the large clinic that they had that's been morphed into this very large hospital complex. So it's going to be an amazing facility for the city of Newcastle, and very impactful. We hope to do everything we can to minimize the impact on the community and the citizens. We know it's going to be a lot of impact. We hope to do everything we can to make it as least impactful as possible.
Like on the 130, that's between them and the state. Like, because it comes through our city, do we have to pay any portion of that too?
No,
or it's a state highway, so it's just the state does it.
State does
We're
it.
just in the loop because
Fox Lane on the other side, though.
We're just hoping we can get them to.
The entire 3 miles, but that also remarkably adds to that particular intersection at Country Club.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we're hoping to get done, and you know, with that, you know, the Turnpike connection.
I was going to ask you about an update on Turnpike as well.
Turnpike connection, they're moving forward. They are still negotiating with partial takes. They sent out some notifications to individuals that were total takes. I know they've had some conversations with individuals recently, some additional individuals that reached out to them that were partial takes. That may end up being partial or total on our side of the river. Right now, they're moving forward fast and furious. They still have a projected opening date of the end of 2027. So, that's very ambitious.
yeah,
But
that's the 35 to 37
35 to 44.
or 44.
Yes. Yep. And so, you know, they still do anticipate it's going to be sometime in early summer that they will be at 60% design on the plan and be in a position to negotiate with partial takes. So they'll have the exact right of way established at that point in time. So then, at that point in time, everybody that's going to be impacted is going to have land that is going to be part of this project will be notified. And so after that, after they get that right of way purchased, you know, there's probably they anticipate starting portions of the construction by the end of this year. I think a lot of it will push into next year, but they're really wanting, based on conversations we've had, to start work on the geotech stuff in the river for the bridge crossing. But that's going to be probably the thing they jump in and start doing first. I think that may take them a little bit more time. Yeah. They have a survey on our side. They were down there month and a half ago doing all the surveying.
Yeah, I saw them out in the field there.
They're on the other side.
The other side of them.
Is it the Fox field right there? I saw them out there one day.
Yeah, on the Norman side, that, you know, we were the family was cooperative, and they went down and they surveyed all the way out into the river from our side. But the other on the other side,
That farm.
they I don't know if they're cooperating quite as much.
No.
So
It's that one farm at the bend. They're not happy. They have signs out. Yeah.
so, but we'll get that done and then get ready to move forward.
How about Highway 9 interchange? Well, see, it's underway, but
Trucking.
It's trucking.
timeline on that one, do you remember?
It's 814 project to begin with, I believe. I don't remember when exactly they started that.
About last March, I believe, April.
You don't have to say,
So,
I feel like stuff moves really slow, but this one, I feel like they keep shifting. Like they're doing, I feel like they're really doing stuff on such a long project. I feel like it's really moving.
Was it?
They're almost at 365, so they're not halfway there yet. Yeah.
But I do feel feel like they're moving. Sometimes we feel like projects aren't moving. They're there working constantly and shifting traffic, and if they're shifting traffic, I think they've done something, so I have to say.
And is that street wraparound, is that completed now, or?
The Harvey Street?
Harvey Street, yeah, so is that opened up? The property owners can start marketing that?
It is, and that's one of the things that whenever they get done with this project, and we get sewer established down in that area, a drainage plan, if you guys can remember, we are working with the nation has obligated grant funds that they received with the Corps of Engineers to a drainage study for that area down there that we're a part of, along with Chickasaw Nation and the town of Goldby. So hopefully, by the time all this gets completed, we'll have that drainage study completed, and it will identify ways for us to improve the drainage in that area. So we will comfortably then be able to go in and make improvements to the remainder of Harvey going north, so that we can do it in a manner we know it's going to last. Because we've had some way to help solve the drainage issue that's been plaguing the area for a long, long time.
And we're still in engineering for the wastewater treatment.
We are currently engineering the lift station and the pipeline from Highway 9 to the location of the treatment plant. We have not started engineering on the plant itself, and that'll come back towards us. We have to finalize agreements with the nation and determine their initial need and the needs they're going to have as they phase that in, how soon that's going to be, so that we can work with our engineers to determine what is the best sizing for the initial size of that plant, how we want to phase that in based on how they're looking at phasing in what they're going to discharge to it.
Gotcha.
That makes sense, everybody?
Yep. Yeah.
That's kind of all we know thus far.
It's a lot.
There's a lot.
Topping.
So,
No telling how it will look 8 to 10 years.
8 to 10 years?
5, 4.
Guys at the coffee shop, 8 to 10 years.
Tell them it's going to be sooner than that.
No, we try. They don't listen. They'll be surprised.
What Dad told me one time, everything that could be a little pet there. I'm like,
Oh,
Dad. As he tries now to offer his iPhone. Unsuccessfully.
all right, yeah, any other council member comments? Everybody has good water down here, West says.
Oh, fresh thought.
We're working on solving that. If you recall, we're doing those improvements along down there. So those projects will hopefully.
Is Ross gonna have? Are we hoping the Ross improvement? Whether the line to Ross, 76 Ross, is that it?
No, this one will go from Oak Hollow down to Ross Street.
Oak Hollow to Ross. Okay. Yeah, I had the wrong piece. Sorry.
Or Twisted Oak.
Twisted Oak to Ross. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so it'll get better, Kimberly.
And then that booster going in, but the booster probably won't do much for them, will it? The booster that we had that neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think just connecting that line will do a lot more than the booster itself. And when the Chickasaw Nation Hospital comes in, there's a very, very good chance it's going to improve water infrastructure in that entire area. And we are hoping that combined with what we're doing currently, that will allow us to pretty much resolve both of the issues we have in the southwest portion of town.
That whole area. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You guys did it before.
Any other comments? Item number 15 is adjournment. Make a motion for adjournment. Motion second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Outside the meeting, I don't think there's any need to make big announcements, but I am planning to file for the back club for next February. So